see
How come we
Mike.
didn't, Pete, how come we didn't put a pool in the building? Is that just because it's, people don't typically, when they're just there for long term, they don't use pools, or?
I would defer that question to Brian, if Brian, you don't mind. But yes, I believe you're correct that with the extended stay, the clientele is more, for 7 days plus stay, business purposes. So.
And they don't typically swim or anything, then it's just an extra expense.
So Mike's here.
Yep, Chair and Commission,
Hey, Mike.
apologize. Just like what would happen occasionally when we meet in real life, the CDRB meeting ran long. You just didn't, you could get in the room, unlike when we're in the council chambers, you can't get in the room. So we do need to allow just a couple minutes for our TV folks to catch up with us and join the meeting and get set up. So it sounds like you've been having some preliminary discussion. That's great. And
We're done. We're done.
yeah, unfortunately,
Adjourned.
we'll have a,
Michael, we started the meeting and went through the roll call and approval of agenda, and
Okay.
we took a stop at the public hearing so
Okay.
that we could catch up with you and let you take over at that point.
sure. I appreciate that. So
Sure.
we do just need, again, I apologize for this, a couple minutes. I'm not seeing our AV folks on the call yet. But let's see. Everyone's been waiting, so we'll move on. So if Chair, with your approval, if you're ready, I could start with our first item of the public hearing items of the 3 items with the 25 Carver. Does that work for you?
Yes. We left off right at public hearing E, number 1 of the home-based cement business with storage of commercial vehicle at 2510 Carver Avenue. A, home occupancy license resolution, and B, conditional use permit resolution.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chair and Commission. I have up some slides that will walk us through our discussion here. So as mentioned, the applicant is seeking approval, already operates a small concrete business, and they do store commercial vehicles on their property. Another facet of the current conditions, employees are also reporting to the property for the day, for the work that does occur off-site as they progress through the day. So what the applicant is seeking approval for is a home occupation license and a conditional use permit. So these 6 items were included in your staff report, and they're the items that are out of ordinance that dictate when a home occupation license is required to be sought. So any one of these items would trigger that requirement. And as we've already mentioned on the first slide, it's the employment of non-residents and the storage of the commercial vehicles that trigger the home occupation license that you're reviewing this evening. As far as the conditional use permit aspect, code requires conditional use permits for the storage of any heavy commercial vehicles or multiple light commercial vehicles. And what we're dealing with tonight are the heavy commercial vehicles. So as the staff report outlined, the applicant's looking to store 2 commercial vehicles along with their trailers and bobcats. And they would be stored on a class 5 hard surface, which is in the city code considered a hard surface. So that is permitted on that portion of the driveway. The parking area also that they're proposing to use is located down the hill from the house, and which is out of sight of the public right-of-way. So staff has done multiple site visits to this site to confirm that that area is out of sight of the public right-of-way. And as the staff report mentioned, the applicants also are intending to eventually build an additional exterior garage structure that would house these commercial vehicles, which would also be permitted. The staff report did mention that the applicant has made driveway and grading improvements. And so we do need to continue to work with the applicant and make sure the proper permits are pulled so that we ensure at the end of the day that all engineering requirements are going to be met. And the applicants have been having ongoing discussion and are aware of these requirements and are intending and have been working with staff to address all these requirements and concerns. Also, the applicant is working to remove supplies that have been on the site, as no exterior storage of materials are allowed or will be allowed. So the applicant is finding alternative location so they are able to move those off-site. As the staff report mentioned, 12 property owners within 500 feet were surveyed. You did receive those 3 responses in your packet. So with that, staff is recommending approval of both the home occupation license and the conditional use permit, which both can be found in separate resolutions in your packet. Staff can stand for any questions. I know the applicant is also here and can stand for questions from the commission. And then once you're ready, Mr. Chair, you are able to call the public hearing for this item.
Okay. Did they get red flagged, or did they apply on their own?
Chair and Commission, yeah, this issue came up to us through a complaint-based situation.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
I did have a question in regards to the background where it talks about the business operating Monday through Friday, April to October. I was curious why a time element on the months of occupation as a business.
Well, we only do concrete work from flat work or whatever from April or May, whenever the road restrictions go off, until October 15th, because that's all, that's the only time we pour our concrete. So then we lay off our people and then we just
Go on vacation.
go vacation, or, we go south or so.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure.
And everything.
I just wanted to make sure you didn't limit yourself in some way with the CPU application by being.
Oh, no. We only work the 6 months out of the year.
Is that exactly stringent to those dates then, so that we
Pretty close. It all depends. Like we wait.
It's probably the middle of October to the end of October.
Yeah, it all depends on we don't like to pour any concrete after the 15th or unless we have a really warm fall, but mainly it's, around
Well, I guess my question is, the CUP, is that stated to those exact dates? I guess, Michael, is that once they're applying, it is those dates. So wouldn't it be better if it went longer than to say the middle of November in case there was warmer weather, or is that?
Yeah.
Sure.
But
I mean, because I can work sometimes until November, but if we use blankets and it's warm, if it's stated in this thing, you couldn't do anything after the 15th, so we don't want to limit you.
Oh, got it. Yeah, maybe you want to say November through November then, even though it's rare, but you never know.
Well, you still go April, May. Yeah, April through November.
Right.
Yep.
so, Mr. Martin, is this really relevant for the dates? Because once you give them the conditional use permit, they should be able to live under those conditions, be it January or February. It's their call when they pour the cement and where they do the work. But really, the CUP is going to allow them to even park a truck there that was approved in May can be parked in January there.
Sure, Chair and Commission, just a point of clarification. The date limitations are housed within the home occupation license resolution. The conditional use permit does not reference those as conditions. I'm just double checking that because I would agree with Commissioner Desai that a conditional use permit, once approved, runs with the property, and we don't limit time
Just as
elements
simple
to
as
that.
that.
But it's built into the home occupation. But just like the applicant gave feedback on October versus November, we're looking for your recommendation on what you're comfortable with for a time restriction or lack thereof.
Well, maybe there shouldn't be any, if he does any snow plowing or anything either, then if he's going to have commercial vehicles on his property, like he says in January, then otherwise,
No.
shaking her head, no.
We don't do any snow plowing. We just snow plow our driveway. That's it. with our
And
Bobcat.
those vehicles go inside storage then during the winter months.
Actually, we park them down below the hill.
But
They'll
so you are
be-
still on the property.
Same spot, yeah.
They'll be parked in the same spot where we have on that
Correct.
map.
So in my estimation, it's better to have the CUP open for year round because you're parking your trucks and things like that on your property, and it's legally
Okay.
there. So really, it
Okay.
should be an year round thing, and then it's up to you what kind of timing for your business you want to do. That's your call.
Okay. I guess that's good then. I didn't know how to word it otherwise. So
That's all right.
if that's okay,
Okay.
we want to work with you.
So that does that have to be resolutions we have to approve on that then, or we'll just do that as we do when we do the approval, if that's what we're going to do, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Chair and Commission, yes, I would recommend that whoever
Yeah.
makes a motion would add
year.
or strike language that they would like to.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Lou, any questions? Fred? John?
Looks good.
Anything, Lou, there? Are you listening to music or?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
I guess then, is there anyone else that would like to speak on this? This would be the public hearing part. Is there anyone that would like to speak?
So Chair and Commission, we do have a number of callers on the line that may very well be here for other items, but I'm just going to walk through their last four digits so that we know that they have the ability to speak. So
Okay.
I'm going to start with the last four digits, 0147.
Honey, can you put the dogs away? I got this meeting right now.
0147, did you have anything on this item? Okay. Then 8799. Anything on this
I have
item?
nothing on this item, thank you.
All right, thank you. 3209. Anything on this item? Continue. 0168. Anything on this item? And then finally 1377. Anything on this item? So a little clunky, but we just want to make sure that we call out everyone and make sure they have the opportunity.
Okay. So this will be the last call then for anybody interested in speaking. And
I just want to thank everybody for helping us out here.
so seeing none, then we will close the public hearing then. Okay. Bashar, do you want to do the resolution on that then, since you're good at those, or?
Sure. And I'm going to word it in such a way that it's an open timing issue and not even mention the time, folks. A motion to approve a resolution for a home occupation license for a home-based concrete business at 2510 Carver Avenue. Motion to approve a resolution for a conditional use permit to allow the storage of commercial vehicles at 2510 Carver Avenue.
There's motion by Deshar, second by,
Second,
is that you, John?
Lou.
Or Luke?
Lou.
Okay, second by Luke. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays? Hearing all ayes, I believe. This passed. This is just a recommendation from us. Now, this will go before the city council for final approval on,
Chair and Commission, the intended date is September 14th.
okay.
Okay, great. Do we meet on here again then, or no?
Yeah, you'll receive additional information for how to access that meeting on the 14th. So we'll get that to you a few days before.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Sure.
You bet.
Good luck. Yep,
Yeah.
good luck on yours.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
We are at number 2, at 2015 Woodland Avenue East, conditional use permit resolution. Staff?
Chair and Commission, thank you. So I've brought us to, again, the slide deck here to just briefly walk through the applicant's request. So before you is Alyssa Burt and Cindy Lang of Dogtopia. They're requesting approval of an outdoor play area for a dog daycare. So to move forward with this, they're requesting approval again of a conditional use permit. You can see the site here, which is just east of White Bear Avenue on the north side of Woodland. It's referenced as the Plaza 3000 North Annex. Plaza 3000 is obviously here, and then this is the north part of the shopping center. The center itself is guided by the 2040 comprehensive plan as commercial, and it is zoned shopping center. Dog daycare is a permitted use. So I just want to make sure the commission has understanding that the use itself is permitted. And so what you're really looking at is the outdoor components. So the applicant, again, in Plaza 3000 North Annex, is leasing just over 5,400 square feet of the shopping center. You can see the image here. I don't have the entire shopping center on here, but you can see the zoomed in site plan. So the 1,000 square foot dog run or recreational area on the north side, which would be considered the back side of this building, and that's where that would be located. So of that 1,000 square feet, it would be covered with an artificial turf and enclosed by an 8-foot high composite privacy fence. Again, just to reiterate, the use itself is a permitted use, but the outdoor area is why we're looking at this tonight. And then the fence and turf area would extend approximately 20 feet. So from the back of the building here to the back of the fence here, and would align with existing door to the leased area. And I'm sorry, I see my header here on the slideshow is wrong. So just forgive me that. But we are talking about Dogtopia here. So we did survey 32 property owners within 500 feet of this application site. We did receive one response, which was included with your staff report. Again, the conditional use permit is the limit, or the CUP as proposed would limit use to outside area as described in the report, meaning that the operations and how the applicant intends to use that outside area is how the conditional use permit captures that. And that any exterior improvements need design review from the city. So that fence would need to be run through our administrative design review before they'd be able to put that up. And staff would work with the applicant after this process is completed to make sure that they complete any required design review elements. So quick summary here of the report, but staff is recommending approval of the conditional use permit as requested. And I know the applicants are online and can stand questions, as can staff. And just another reminder to the chair that this is also a public hearing tonight.
What's near that? What's on the other sides of that building?
Sure. So the other occupants to the west is a Pizza Hut, and then I know the east end cap of the building is the Doghouse Bar. And I'm not sure. Maybe the applicants would know if I might be missing another tenant within to the east of them as well.
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay.
How many dogs are you typically going to have during the day there then?
Yeah, good question. So within the facility, we do have the capacity for up to 119 dogs, but we would never have even remotely that many outside at a time. We would bring them out in groups grouped by size and temperament, and those groups would be no larger than 20 at a time. And they would always be with a certified canine coach who's trained in kind of redirection and behavior management.
What is your experience with these type of facilities?
Well, this is our first franchise. We purchased 2 in the Twin Cities, and we've gone through extensive training both online and within store and within university. And so we've kind of seen both the indoor and the outdoor. We've spent a few weeks doing the training at another facility in Scottsdale, Arizona. But that is the extent of our personal training. We do also have on the line a couple of individuals from Dogtopia corporate as well. So if you've got further questions around that, I'm sure they can help as well.
That sounds like a huge amount of dogs. I would think 20 dogs would be a lot of dogs, and it's up to 120. Is that how are they housed then inside? Are they in all different kennels or
112?
So they are grouped in different rooms based on size and temperament. So within the inside of the Dogtopia facility, we do an extensive assessment process to make sure that the dogs are fit for daycare and are ready for daycare. And then once they are, we can group them by size and temperament. So we would never put a Shih Tzu in with a Bernese Mountain Dog, for example, right? We would for the safety of the dogs, we have 3 separate rooms where we would let the dogs play, and if needed, they can go in crates as well. If play, gets escalated, or for feeding or nap time as well. Those we do utilize the crates.
So how many dogs do you have today?
We're not open yet. We are just starting the process of the build out.
A question. You indicated that you have 3 separate rooms. What are the sizes of the rooms?
So the size of the whole facility is almost 5,000 square feet. And then it's divided into 3 separate rooms.
Is there any unit standard for a dog?
You mean the size?
Yeah.
I could probably assist. My name's Kathy Halter, and I'm from our Dogtopia support office in Phoenix, from the franchisor. Cindy and Alyssa have joined us as a franchisee. We go through a very extensive process in selecting the right franchisees that can run our Dogtopia locations throughout the country. We have about 144 open now in the US and Canada, and all of those stores or daycare facilities are all designed through our real estate and construction design team with a specialized design format and formula to allow for the right amount of space for the dogs to have plenty of room to romp and play, but also to create safe spaces for Cindy and Alyssa to be able to do the assessment that they just talked about. So we assess dogs, we have space for them to rest, we have space for them to play, we have protocol and training for the teams there that allows them to be certified as canine coaches. We also have extensive online training, and as well we have a very significant amount of time that we spend with them for setup. And as they mentioned, their store's not open yet. So once the store is built, and we'll guide them every step of the way through that build out with a proprietary design that we have for the 144 locations across the US and Canada. And then we'll take them through that and show them how to use all of those safety features that we have, and all of the cleanliness and everything else that we have as standard protocol. And then we'll train their team as well. We'll fly out there and spend 10 days with them with canine coach trainers, as well as and then we assign them a staff member from our team who's been with us for a significant amount of time and has passed extensive training themselves and has experience in the canine behavior industry. And they will spend time in their locations once a quarter and go out and do assessments and help them to continue to improve the experience that the dogs have. We also have something called a top dog facility certification, which makes sure that Cindy and Alyssa meet all of the criteria that we set up for safe and environment for the pups and for their pet parents, and they'll get that certification each year. So we're really proud of the support that we'll give to Cindy and Alyssa, and we're really excited about the 2 of them. They've both been out for 2 full weeks of classroom training, as well as 2 full weeks of in-store training. So 4 weeks of training already. And I have to say, as I recall, they both passed with flying colors. We give a test at the end of each of those events, and they were exceptional. So we're very confident that they'll keep the pups of Maplewood safe.
Is the numbers typical that square footage to have that dogs? Is that kind of standard or?
Yes, it's very typical. In fact, we exceed, in almost all jurisdictions, we exceed the square footage space that's required. Many jurisdictions do not have square footage per dog space requirements, but we do. And we do that because it's really important that there is enough room for them to move around freely. And also have all of the protocol, as I said, to be able to separate those groups, and then to also separate those groups even further into like home style crates so they can take a nap or eat their lunch. And what this outdoor play will afford Cindy and Alyssa, it'll be a great place for them to rotate their group sizes out as well. So you can imagine being able to take your pups out and take that group. It's very similar to children's daycare. I know it sounds strange, but parents treat their pups very much like we treat our kids. That they love them very much, and they want them to have time to socialize with other pups, so that when they do take them out to go to the restaurant that's appropriately named next door, I believe it was called the Dog House, or pick up the pizza next door, they've got their dog with them, and their dog behaves really well because they're good and they're socialized. They run into another dog and they're happy to see them, and they don't behave in a difficult way. And so you know, very, very much we design this location based on the size and that capacity, and the capacity is determined by the size of the location and how we design it.
And how big is the yard outside? The pen outside? How big is that square footage?
It'll be a little larger than 1,000 square feet. And so, as we said, no more than 20 would be out there at a time.
What are these blueprints that we've got? They don't make a lot of sense to me unless you want to know where the rooftop heating and air conditioning units are.
So, Chair and Commission, yeah, the applicant did submit a pretty extensive set of plans, which is we like to see, but your focus really is on that outside run area. So okay, take it for a grain of salt for, you know, just having a fuller context of the project.
Got it.
So in regards to the outside run area, because of the businesses you have on both sides, and then basically what's behind there now is the dumpsters and basically a paved parking lot. How is that going to be? I read the review about the element of using the AstroTurf and cleaning, and how are you going to make that sub layer of earth correct to be able to take dog urine on a daily basis with 2 food service areas on both sides, one of them with an outdoor patio? It just seems like a conflict of use of that one building of the 3 tenants with Dogtopia in the middle.
I can answer the cleanliness side for Cindy and Alyssa, and then I think they could probably answer the how their landlord and their co-tenants feel about the opportunity to have the Dogtopia there. First of all, interestingly enough, we use a bioenzymatic cleaner in the back to clean. We have a turf cleaner that we'll use. We have immediate pickup of any solid. And then when we design the outdoor play in the back, we'll have it designed so that there's an underlayment of crushed aggregate, as well as then another layer over the top of that of smaller gravel, and then the turf goes over that. And we also have then as we said, the fence line that goes around, and we've got drainage on that side as well. So we make sure that we can mitigate any smell, and we only use bioenzymatic cleaners, so that when we clean immediately after a dog eliminates, that is the smell is not something that you would have to be concerned with. And as I said, any solid waste would be picked up with a double bag system. So it'd be picked up with the initial bagging of the solid waste, and then it would be put in a second container that gets taken out to the dumpster on a regular basis.
and then that would be picked up and removed. So there's, we have, as I said, 144 of these locations, many of them with residents as well as co-tenants that are much, much closer than this location would have proximity to those. And we don't have complaints or concerns.
What is
we use Merck products, I should say, and that we're certified as heroes for healthy pets because of the type of products that we use. It's very dog safe as well. So it's effective and dog safe.
Yeah, Mike, you indicated that we're supposed to focus on the outside. Yeah, I agree with that. But the number of the activities that will be taken inside is synonymous to the outside itself. You know, in this case, just like Ed earlier indicated, behind here you only have dumpster on the asphalt over there. You're going to be using 20 feet out of there. I'm just wondering if there is enough space for something like a fire truck accessibility or police truck accessibility behind here. It doesn't look to me like that because you have that green area over there that you cannot encroach on under the high tension wire, you know. So I don't see enough space at the back over there for fire truck or police access, you know, or what do you think?
Yeah, Chair and Commission. So that is an element we did look at. And so a fire lane requires 24 feet, and to the back of, from the building, back of the building to the back of the parking stalls that are there is approximately 50 feet. So taking 20 of that still leaves you with 30 plus or minus feet there. And so the fire department did also review this proposal. So there's not a concern from public safety from circular access to that building and being able to get to the back and run vehicles through there.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
How are they going to prevent the dogs from making so much barking in that too? Are the dogs pretty well controlled?
Did I miss that?
Yeah, so we've got certified canine coaches, like Kathy mentioned. They go through extensive training, and their training involves a lot of redirection, behavior correction, and also we do a lot of what we call games. Maybe aren't the typical games that you necessarily think of when you think of your dog, but games to keep the dogs intellectually stimulated. So games like follow the leader and sit in a circle, and playing with what we call bacon bubbles. So they're bacon flavored bubbles. Just different things to stimulate them, because when they are bored, they can, that's when barking tends to occur. So we have these certified canine coaches, well-trained, who are ready to, ready to correct any behavior that they see, and really are out in front of it by creating these stimulating games. Now, in addition, the way we have proposed, the way we have set up the design, each of our playrooms has direct access to this outdoor space. So if we do have a situation where a dog or a group of dogs is unable to be redirected, we can easily get them back inside the room.
Another thing to consider is the design. The design really helps as well. We use a composite fence, and dogs will typically bark when they see something. And so we have a full 8-foot fence. We do that for the safety of the dogs, so that they don't try to strain or see over the fence. And that fence is solid. So it's a solid composite material. There aren't any peek holes. There's not anything that they're going to be able to see through. And they're really excited to be out there with their pack and hanging out with their friends and doing those activities that Cindy and Alyssa just explained to you. Additionally, the other component to this is that they're out there typically in about 30-minute intervals. They're very excited to move around. It's a lot more about movement than it is about noise or barking that they're having. So, but as Cindy and Alyssa said, they can easily pull them in. And then the last feature is that it is going to be monitored. So we have a webcam that will show out the back, that will show any of the other staff members that are inside the building, what's happening in the exterior. So we'll have a staff member out there as well as video monitoring, and that video monitoring has an audio capability. So they'll be able to monitor that, and that is really key to having an extra set of hands if they need it. These dogs are only out at 30-minute intervals, so it's fun, it's exciting, and it's kind of like taking your pup for a walk without having all of those other pups that are walking by that you see that they want to go and visit with. They're right there with their pack. So it's fun times.
Now, what about, is there type of retention or anything for the runoff or anything when it gets to a certain point when they're washing, or is it just all enough filterization that it goes into the ground?
Yeah, enough filterization when it goes into the ground. Yeah, and we do have the vac for it. So, but those enzymatic cleaners do a great job as well.
But what about the winter months when it's not going into the ground? Where is this all collected?
We actually have a snow cleaning protocol, if you can believe it, because it's really important for us to teach our teams how to handle the snow, how to remove it, and also how to be able to position that snow so that it can be, candidly, the snow is pretty cool. Dogs like to lift their leg. We can see exactly where they marked. We can actually scoop that and take that away pretty easily. It becomes solid waste. And then we have to make sure that we teach our franchisees to push the snow in a direction so that the dogs don't climb up it, because that 8-foot fence is really important. So there's a lot of training that goes into that. And as I mentioned, that existing store operations team that's going to come out and be assigned to them and give them ongoing quarterly support will be out there to teach them how to do it. We also have an online training for them, and we have a visual that we can share with them that they can post outside of their room, so that each one of their canine coaches can know exactly how to clean when it comes to snow protocol and how to make sure that they keep the pups safe.
So where is the snow going to be moved if it's a solid fence? Is there a gate or something that they're gonna get it taken out and then somebody haul it away?
Yes, there is a gate, and it just depends on how much snow accumulates and if it needs to be hauled off or if it can be repositioned. And sometimes, with the weather in Minnesota, they may not be using the outdoor play every day in the winter months. It may not be something that's advisable. And again, we give them coaching on that. When is it safe to bring your dog out from a heat standpoint and a weather standpoint? So we'll make sure that the space is safe for the pups and that the right amount of pups are out there if there's any compromised square footage. So they could, if there was too much snow and the snow plow couldn't get there, but they actually moved the snow over, they could take them out in a smaller group if they needed to during that time. So lots of options. And again, we train the team to know how to make those decisions.
Don't eat the yellow snow.
Don't eat the yellow snow, but scoop it. That yellow snow is really good.
Now, the other question I have for Mike is the excess of the 6-foot fence to 8. Does there have to be some kind of approval on that too, because we are exceeding the 6 feet?
Sure, and commission, no, commercial fences are allowed up to 10 feet.
10 feet, yeah.
Okay.
The other question that I have is in the summary. Could you explain or expand on the summary over there about the preventative design and operational measures? What are they?
I'm trying to look and see what the question is and see if I can on the summary.
The last sentence, the proposed outdoor area is anticipated to be an appropriate use at this location due to preventative design and operational measures. What are the...
Oh, that's what I just described. I'm sorry. So the preventive design is the safety, all of the safety features that we're doing, the cleanliness features, the use of all of our proprietary products to the bioenzymatic cleaners, all of the training protocol for canine coaches and for Cindy and Alyssa and for their team member, as well as the design. So it's gives them an environment to be successful, utilizing the space without hindering the co-tenants.
I was thinking of a different design in my head.
Did anybody else have any other questions? My only big concern is the dogs barking and the runoff of the dog pee, and that's my big.
I'm going to. I don't think.
The co-tenants, you had talked to the co-tenants, Cindy and Alyssa?
We reached out to the landlord, and we didn't know the owners of the co-tenants, so we asked that he reach out and see if there were concerns, and we did not hear any from the landlord.
But not the tenants, just the landlord.
Correct. We don't know who owns those. Or who the
Chair and Commission, I can just add, I've had a conversation with the owner. There's multiple owners, but one of the owners of the doghouse bar, and briefed them on the proposal, and there was no concerns there. We have not had any contact with the Pizza Hut franchise on the west side, just for what it's worth. But again, the daycare itself would be a permitted use, so that it's really up to the landlord who they lease that out to. And I get the concerns about the outdoor area, and that's what you're focusing on. But
Right.
so there has been a project sign, as with all our land use requests, placed in front. So anyone working or owning that site, owning a business at that site, would definitely be aware that something is being looked at.
Okay.
I think so too. Just leave it to them. Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, I think Alan's just mumbling back there in the background. Your mic's on.
Can I open it up to the public?
Yes, I think we should. To move along. Okay, Michael, want to do that then?
Yeah, Chair and Commission, I'll just walk through. So phone number ended in 0147. Anything for this item? Okay, phone number ended in 8799. Anything for this item?
No comments on this item.
Thank you. Phone number ended in 3209. Anything for this item? And phone number ending in 0168. Anything for this item? And the last one here, phone number 1377. Anything for this item? Mr. Chair.
Okay, since we have no one interested in speaking, then we will close the public hearing. Okay. Anybody like to make a resolution or approval or
Motion?
motion? Did you want to make one, Alan?
Well, we have motion to approve a resolution for a conditional use permit for a planned unit. No, I'm sorry.
Went ahead.
I'm on another page. So I think somebody might want to go ahead and do that.
Oh, Mr. Chair and Commission, you're looking, the resolution for this item starts on page 25 of your packet.
Yeah. Approve the attached conditional use permit resolution to allow an outdoor play area for the dog daycare at 2015 Woodland Avenue East.
Second.
There's been a motion by Alan, second by Shar. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing all ayes, it's approved. This is just a recommendation by us. This will go before the city council on
Chair and Commission, September 24th.
September 24th. Okay. Thanks for your time, everybody there.
Thank you. Thank
Yep.
you.
You're welcome. Okay, we are on number 3, Wood Springs Suites at 1744 County Road D East. Conditional use permit for a planned unit development amendment resolution. Staff?
Chair and Commission, thank you. So again, back to the slides here, just briefly walk through the proposal. So Wood Springs Suites Hotels is being proposed for the last vacant piece in the Legacy Village development, which was approved as a planned unit development. You can see the aerial overview map on your screen here. So this is a site just south of County Road D that we're looking at tonight. The hotel itself would be a 126 room facility. I already mentioned the PUD aspect. That's part of why you're reviewing this tonight. The site as part of that plan unit development was designated as retail/commercial. So this project needs an amendment to the plan unit development to approve the site plan because there is an existing site plan for a different use that has been approved, and we'll get in that on the next slide here. So to move forward, the project needs approval for a plan unit development, which I just outlined, design review, and a comprehensive sign plan. The design elements were reviewed earlier at a public meeting with the Community Design Review Board, which recommended approval. All three items then go to the City Council, who makes that final decision. And that just to get ahead of it, Mr. Chair, that also is scheduled at this time for September 14th.
Okay.
So moving on here, the 2040 comprehensive plan guides this land use for this site as commercial. Again, the zoning is planned unit development, PUD. As I mentioned, the site is currently vacant. In 2008, this site was approved as a strip shopping center. And so that's the site plan that has been approved for this site. Commercial, retail, all those type of uses would be permitted here. But because of the plan unit development, there is a site plan that's been approved, and that's what we're looking at amending under your review tonight, the site plan. So as part of that 2003 plan unit development, the original approval for legacy development, the original front yard setback was supposed to be 15 feet off County Road D. In 2008, the City Council allowed a revised front yard setback of 83 feet. The applicant is looking to once again revise that setback, bringing the building somewhat closer to County Road D, obviously not near the 15 feet that was originally envisioned in 2003, but landing at 68 feet off County Road D. For hotels in Maplewood, the parking ratio that is required is a 1-to-1 between space and room. So for a 126 room facility, 126 spaces are required. The next item is that the applicant is, though, on the parking aspect, requesting flexibility, which is allowed within the plan unit development on permitting 9-foot wide spaces instead of the minimum 9.5. In Maplewood, parking width is determined on commercial turnover. And so for a fast food restaurant, we require 10 feet. For a sit-down restaurant, we require 9.5. So again, looking at what's the expected turnover rate. So staff looked at that through that lens when we considered this request. And we determined that a hotel, if you consider all commercial uses, it's probably going to be fairly low on that turnover rate. And so we did land comfortable with this request from 9.5 to 9-foot wide spaces. The site will be accessed off 2 drives. I'm circling them with my cursor here off Flandreau. I know there was some public comment that we received about how come not directing the traffic to British Suites on the east side of the site. If you got either out to the side or you looked at our area photo, you would have seen a median that limits access to the site that runs along County Road D. Part of that is when Legacy Village was master planned, essentially. So all the uses that you see as part of Legacy Village, the city worked with the county on where those spacing, how to space those access points. So it was predetermined in the early 2000s that traffic for this site should come off Flandreau. So even if you flip the site plan, there's no way to get in coming west on County Road D to get down to Bittersweet without turning left on Flandreau anyway. So actually having the access points here limits how much hotel traffic will be circulating within the neighborhood itself. As a point of note, any project that abuts a county right-of-way, we do send for their comments. They had no specific comments on this project itself, other than they're not going to entertain moving the median or changing any of the access points at this point on County Road D. So moving forward, a couple items that staff identified on the site plan itself. Parking lots are supposed to have a 15-foot setback from County Road D. And then the applicant is working with staff on the potential of adding additional sidewalks and trees per PUD requirements within that would match the rest of Legacy Village. So we're continuing to work on fine tuning really that site plan to meet these setback and sidewalk and finally the tree requirements. The building itself, just to give you background, again, the design board looked at this earlier this evening. The building itself is 4 stories, would be just under 47 feet at its highest peak. The hotel building was designed to blend in with the nearby residential architecture. So you see the pitched roof that will include the asphalt shingles. That's part of that effort there. The first floor is covered with brick facade. And actually the CDRB, as part of their review, added the recommendation of adding brick in the center bay and then on the stairwell bays at the ends of each building, or each end of the building, excuse me. So the CDRB would like to see additional brick added to that elevation. And then the lap siding itself would cover the remainder of the building and be varied by 3 different colors. Just real quick, comprehensive sign plan is required because it's part of the Legacy Village development. And so staff is recommending that they be limited to 2 monument signs and wall signs, 1 wall sign on the north elevation and 1 wall sign on the east, and making sure that there's no signage on the west or south elevations that face the residential neighborhoods. Neighborhood surveys were sent out to the 80 property owners that live within 500, not just live, but own properties within 500 feet of this site. City received 7 responses, which were detailed in your staff report. As you are well aware, you're reviewing this tonight, as did the CDRB, and the City Council will review that this item again in September. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the plan unit development resolution that is included in your staff report, and that starts on page 43 of the packet. So I know the applicant, there's a couple applicant representatives that can answer questions from the commission, as can I. And then, Mr. Chair, I again remind you that this is a public hearing.
Now, how does this fit in with our North End vision plan?
Chair and commission, so all parts of Legacy Village were not in technically where we were master planning. They were in the general boundaries of the North End, but we did not specify any land uses within the North End plan because, again, it's 95% built out. And this already had a specific guidance and kind of direction of being that commercial site already. With that said, we feel that it's fairly consistent with both matching the vision of the North End plan and being blending in with architectural elements to the buildings that are already on the 3 sides of it.
Would that create any kind of conflict with our plans having it near at Birch Run, where we kind of initially we're hoping to have it? Is that having 2 hotels, or is that?
Well, Chair and Commission, ultimately at the end of the day, the market will dictate if another hotel comes in or not. And I know that the North End plan is, we had a specific site where the group landed on where a hotel should be. But again, as we went through that process, I think we always took note that market might dictate that it locates or lands somewhere else, even within the North End.
Right, right.
But
yes.
Yeah, building 1 hotel now, does that have potential of impacting the chances of a different hotel locating somewhere else? Perhaps, but that's, again, we're presented with what was submitted to us with these land use applications.
Right, and it's nice to have a hotel. I guess that's
right. And if you look at it, 17 years ago when the Legacy Village plan was developed, at that time there was a plan for a hotel in this Legacy Village. Just took 17 years to get it there. So
yeah, you mentioned that last time too, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
You
mentioned that last time when we were considering the North End stuff.
Right. So I think to me, it's about time that there was a new hotel in this area. It's a little bit off of where the new plan was thought out, but it's still reasonable.
Well, question. I think Mike said that this does not mean that the other one cannot take place. Right?
Commission, absolutely correct. We're very careful on the planning side to never dictate market conditions. So if another hotel deems that it should locate there, then we have the parameters of where it can be and how it should be built.
As long as we collect the taxes.
There you go.
And the other one has a pool.
Yeah.
Did anybody have any other questions or?
So, just for clarity, as a fairly new board member, you guys are saying the legacy original PUD, this land was already cited for a commercial use. So the fact it's being used commercially is not really a change from the original plan.
Chair and Commission, correct. It's always supposed to be a commercial use in some nature. And in 2008, it was a strip shopping center with a coffee drive-through that was approved. And so again, from a traffic standpoint, when city staff has compared the two uses, we find that the hotel is going to have a lot lower impact traffic-wise than a retail use would be. Now, if the hotel whatever went away and this project didn't go forward and a retail component came back, that would be allowed there as well.
Michael, you said that there were 7 responses to your survey. Are they positive? I'm not able to read them.
Well, Chair and Commission, it
was a mixed bag.
It was
about half and half.
Not to go on a tangent here, but when I first started here, the staff reports would try to categorize positive, negative, mixed bag, and I stopped doing that because I tried to stop interpreting intentions and words of what they actually meant. So I'm just putting the 7 responses to you. There's more concerns than probably outright positive comments of the 7 that we received. But yeah.
Well, I think the one about being, late hours and that most people check into the hotel by, 8, 9 o'clock and, maybe leave by 7 o'clock. So I don't think there's usually a lot of late hours there. I guess I don't see that as being an issue.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Paul, that, especially when this is a sort of a long-term stairs, these are people who are coming into town to work on a project and they're going to be working Monday to Friday and they're going to be busy with their work. So they're not going to be out and about and creating traffic past 10 most of the time. Yeah, there might be a few here and there, but that happens everywhere. So to me, this looks like a good application for that area. Overall, yes, there will be a few 100 more cars a day going in and out, but that's about the extent of it.
Now, do they need that 9'6" to get the amount of parking spots? Because I know that with commercial vehicles, that's nice to have that extra width,
Chair and Commission, I can let the applicant speak more specifically to the site plan impacts of 9 versus 9.5, but yeah, I think you can see how the site is laid out, and if you expanded every space by half a foot, that's going to have impacts. And
they wouldn't get the number that we need then for the parking.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. Did the applicant want to speak on that then? While we're available, was that you, Pete?
I can. Yeah, thank you, Chair and Commission. Mike, that's correct. It was a delicate balance, and we want to work with the city too on providing the most green space and sidewalks around the perimeter as well. So adding that extra half a foot to the 126 spaces would either push out that perimeter to eliminate opportunity for sidewalk, or would decrease the amount of spaces provided to less than that minimum of one per guest room.
So I'm not. Are you the designer of the hotel?
I'm sorry. I'm the civil engineer, designer of assist with the site plan and the parking utilities.
Because I was more curious to hear from the people who are going to own and manage that hotel, that what is their occupancy expectancy? Because where I'm coming from is when, like Paul asked about 9 versus 9.5, and when I travel on my job, I see that there is hotels that have maybe 70, 80% occupancy rate. So there's always additional parking spots for commercial trucks to come in and park and occupy 1.5 parking spot or whatever they do at that time to avoid from hitting somebody else while they get in and out of the truck. So I was just curious to know that is that going to be the case here, or do they expect 90+% occupancy rate at all times, and therefore the parking definitely becomes a challenge at that point?
This is Chip Johnson. I'm part of the ownership group on in. And what I'd like to say about this is you're absolutely right on the occupancy. The occupancy will be in the 70 to 80% range. And the brand actually has a 1-to-1 requirement as well. They do not want to go over 1-to-1. They don't see a need for that, but they like to see 1-to-1 ratio as well. So there should be ample parking unless some very rare occurrences when the property is absolutely full, but that usually does not happen with hotels.
What about trailer parking? Is there anything for trailer parking?
Right now, there's no designated trailer parking.
Okay. Did anybody else have anything else?
I'm good.
Yep,
I'm good.
Too.
And then Chip, I was asking Pete earlier about the pool thing, and that is because people that travel like that don't typically use the pool facilities or any of that. Is that kind of statistically how that works, or?
That's correct. You know, most of this, as was mentioned before by one of the council members, is that this is project-based usage. We anticipate one of the larger uses will be traveling nurses. This is the proximity to the hospital. A lot of these individuals, they're not there for leisure use in the pool. They're there to work, and then just get back to their room and then do it again maybe for the week or for a few week period.
Okay, makes sense. Did anybody else have any other questions? I think we're pretty good on the parking then.
Want to open it up?
Yep. Let's go public. You ready, Mike?
Yep. So for the public hearing, we have 4 phone numbers that I'll walk through. So we'll start again with the last 4 digits of 8799. Did you have anything on this item?
Yeah, I'd just like to chime in as a resident of the townhome.
And as you and everyone else, if there's other people, if you could state your name and address for the record.
And we are limiting the time to about 2 to 3 minutes too also.
All right, I'm Chris Peterson. I'm at 1686 Village Trail East, Unit 1. Directly west of the proposed space. I do have serious questions in regards to the parking. It's already an issue within the townhomes and the apartment units. I can guarantee you, you're going to have residents parking in the parking lot. You've removed some spaces by coming and going from Flandreau. There's density of hotels. There's 5 hotels already within a couple miles of the mall. I'm not quite sure where the need is for more in this particular spot. Security with the mist, you've got crowd issues there already, and now we're inviting them to stay in the neighborhood 1 block away with a hotel. I don't see that it's advertised as extended stay anywhere within the documents that you forwarded or on its signage. I just have some real concerns that way, and I appreciate the opportunity to voice them in front of the committee today.
Yeah, thank you for your input on that too. That there are some concerns there, definitely.
So let me address.
That neighborhood is going to be rough, very rough.
So
and property values are going to go down.
And Mr. Johnson, this is the public hearing. It's not meant to be a back and forth between anyone at this time. So Chip, I would just ask you to. We're not going to interject at this point, so we'll let the speakers run through during the public hearing.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So if we're ready, then we'll go to the next speaker with the last 4 digits of 3209. do you have anything to add? And if you do, please state your name and address for the record. Give just one more opportunity for the phone number ending in 3209. All right. We'll move to the phone number with ending in 0168. So with the phone number of 0168, if you had any comments. All right. Then we have one more phone number ending in 1377. If you have the number 1377, if you have any comments, now would be the time to unmute. And for anyone that hasn't talked yet, I believe you press *6 if you have to unmute, if that's the barrier here. So, Mr. Chair, I think I've asked all the phone numbers. If you want to give one more opportunity just before you move on.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? This is your last and final chance. Anybody else? Okay. We are closing the public hearing then. Thank you. Michael, did everybody have the questions? I think we're ready. Yeah, we're ready to go ahead and approve, right?
Well, yeah, Chair and Commissioner, staff, we take questions. We are directed questions from you. So if there's anything from the Commission after the public hearing that you'd like to follow up on, that's at your discretion.
Did we want Mr. Johnson to say a comment, or what were your thoughts on that? I guess. Should we let him comment on that? I guess
I would.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, did you want to rebuttal that then?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe there were 3 points that were brought up: the parking overflow, the myth clientele, and then the hotel demand also. The parking overflow, the brand standard is a 1-to-1 ratio. In fact, many of these hotels are not necessarily built in a more built up area like this, where you have a self-contained parking lot and they just require a 1-to-1. If they thought there was going to be a need, they require a greater than 1-to-1. So we do not see in other Woodspring Suites properties where there is an overflow parking issue. Woodspring is categorized as a extended stay hotel. An extended stay hotel is a hotel that the resident stays for 7 nights on average or greater. In the brand, there's a 14-day average across the entire country, and there's about 300 properties today. As far as the myth, it goes to the extended stay nature of this. This is not going to be a place where people come in for just one evening, where they're going to see a show at the Myth. In fact, that's not who we want. If that's who was there, if that's who we thought was coming in, that's not what we'd be going for. That's not the type of operation that we want to run. I'm sure there's it can be a challenge at times. So we don't see catering to that clientele. In fact, it changes your operating model in this type of property. If you start to have more dailies, you're going to have a very few limited dailies, but you really are going for that average of week to 2 week plus residents or guests. And then to the demand, we work with Woodspring Corporate. And they have a site score worksheet that has an algorithm that looks at many different factors about, such as density of business and traffic, a number of indicators to determine the demand for the property. One of the, as you might imagine, one element they look at is competition in the area, and adjacent to this property or in the surrounding area, there are no extended stay hotels within 5 miles of this property. So it's one of the leading demand indicators for us. There might be a few other hotels, but there is nothing that services this market.
Where is the closest one then, in Roseville?
I'd have to look at the map. I don't know if any of my colleagues or have that up right now, but I don't have that here.
Where's the next closest?
I think it's Roseville, then there's one in Shakopee and so on. So there's 2-3 of them in Twin Cities.
Oh, of the Woodspring Suites, there's one in Mendota, there's one in Fridley, and one in Woodbury.
Okay. So, Mr. Johnson, based on the fact that there are 3 of them in the Twin City metro area, what kind of feedback do you get for their clientele and level of any issues that may be related to running the hotel business there?
Just like with any hotel, you need to make sure that you have a strong operator in. And we partner with a property management company that manages 25 Woodspring Suites across the United States, and really manages the type of clientele that you get, and make sure that it is the project-based type of guest that is, you're going to get many construction workers, contractors that are there for a job, the new construction in some area, and like I mentioned before, the traveling nurses. Occasionally, since you do have individuals coming and staying for, if the average is 2 weeks, they might be on a month-long job. And the reason they like a Woodspring Suites is that you have the ability that puts them in a refrigerator. You have a small cooktop as well, so you can do some things in your room and don't have to just eat out every single meal. So it's managing that clientele. That said, just like any hotel, I'm sure there's evictions from time to time. You also get patients that are at the hospital for a treatment that might be there for extended treatments. They need a place to stay because there's a specialist that they're seeing, and they're from outstate.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.
No more questions from anybody? Everybody good? Fred?
I'm good.
Lou? Alan?
I'm good.
Alan? John?
Alan's not there.
Yes.
John?
I'm good.
Okay. Would somebody like to do this one? Approval?
I'd like to ask Mr. Martin, is approval for a comprehensive sign plan also part of this, or did that get covered by CDRB?
Chair and Commission, correct. The CDRB looked at the sign plan, and that was incorporated in the resolution that they made a recommendation on.
Okay,
today.
so we just have to deal with the conditional use permit.
Correct. So yeah, the first item A, and that resolution starts on page 43 of your packet.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, I can make a motion to approve a resolution for a conditional use permit for a planned unit development amendment and comprehensive sign plan which approves a 4-story, 126-room hotel building to be constructed at 1744 County Road D East.
Been a motion by Deshar. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Fred. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing all ayes, this is approved. But this is just a recommendation, and this goes before the city council on.
Yeah, Chair and Commission, again, your recommendation will go to the council, who will make that final decision on September 14th.
14. Okay. I know I wrote it down, but I couldn't find where I wrote it down. Okay, thanks everybody on that one. We are at any new business.
Chair and Commission, staff does not have anything, any additional business for you tonight.
Okay. Any commissioners' presentations. I guess we got everything covered then. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to add, or?
Chair and Commission, just before you go, I just, again, thank you for everyone for your patience tonight as the last meeting ran long and sticking with it. So appreciate your flexibility and again, continued meeting online and having great, I think, robust discussions as we move these items through our process. But again, just thanks for waiting me out until I was able to join you.
We're blaming Bill. We're blaming Bill for that one, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I like this better than anyhow than going in. This seems to be a little easier to do than the meetings anyhow. So, and Alan can go to the bathroom when he needs to too. I see.
You bet.
All right.
Okay, I make a motion. We adjourn then right at 8:30.
All right. See you
Good
guys.
night, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.